Hi, this is the weekly update for Mr. Vick's science class for the week of October 12th. All right, on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we spent time on the post-penguin shelter assessment. So let's take a look at it. For the letter, students were concerned since the Rockland, and they saw the Ice Cube Penguin exhibit at the Rockland Zoo. And so they wrote a letter to Director Stella Dubois, and they had to write a persuasive letter using the template that was provided to the director about the quality of the shelters they observed, specifically the shelter that the group made during the visit to the Ice Cube Penguin exhibit. So they had to talk about how the shelter handled convection, conduction, and radiation. And so that was the letter. And then the postcard was that they took the role of a penguin that stayed in the shelter. And so they were writing a postcard to their penguin friend back home, and they had to draw the shelter, and they had to say again how they experienced conduction, convection, radiation in the shelter they stayed in, which is basically the group built that one. And so both were graded on content and concepts on a scale of 1 to 5. So that was turned in on Wednesday, and students had good examples of both to look at. So here's a good example of a postcard, and here's a good example of letter. So that was an assessment. Then students this week, we started to amplify unit lesson, harnessing human energy, and 1.1 and 1.2. So students followed along the lesson slide deck. So I was presenting this information in the slide deck, and then students were following along, doing various activities in each lesson. And then they had to copy down information into page 15 of the reference notebook. So students were given page 15 and 16 in the reference notebook to glue into their notebook and then copy down the information as we go along. One of the activities students did on Friday was determining if energy is in a system or not. They learned what a system was, and then they learned what energy is, and then based on that information, they had to put together these energy systems and determine if they had energy in them or not. And they had to make a scientific argument on whether each system had energy based on the definition of what energy is and what they observed as evidence. So that's what we did this week. Hope you have a good